Welcome to another edition of the DJ Force X podcast. It gives me great pleasure to introduce you guys today to Mishkin. She is from the band Crimson Veil. Welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me. Great to be here.
Absolutely my pleasure. And now you guys have released an album, which we'll talk about in a moment.
Mhm.
But what I would like to do is get a little bit of the origin story of Crimson
Sure.
Veil because I've read your bio and it's very kind of like you've done little bits before this and now you're doing this, but I want to find out all those little bits behind before this as well. But yeah, if we can get some origin story on Crimson Veil, that'd be great.
Yeah, certainly. So it sort of appeared that like last year we sort of came out of nowhere, which as Crimson Veil, which is kind of true, but we were in a band for a very long time before that, that took many kind of musical forms that was originally called Bird Eats Baby. And
Okay.
it was kind of like started off as like a punk cabaret band, and then it got a bit more progressive and weird and more metal and heavier, and just it was like a ridiculous band of too many genres.
Nice.
So I was in that band for quite a long time, and then when Anna joined the band, which was just before the pandemic, and I knew she was a prog drummer, so we started writing, this record called Hex.
Yeah.
Um, and it quite quickly kind of, escalated as things do musically in our group. And we started writing really heavy metal. We just thought, I really want to make a metal record. Let's do it. And we started putting out singles under the name Brad Eats Baby from this album Hex. And we just made Ribbons and Illuminate. And then when we released Hex, it got picked up by Raining Phoenix
Yes.
in Germany. And they said they absolutely loved it and they really wanted to work with us. But because we had this huge back catalogue of music that wasn't really metal,
Yeah.
they thought it'd be better if we reformed under a new name.
Okay.
So it took like 5 months to come up with a name because everything is taken at the moment. And, like we just couldn't agree on something. And then the label was like, oh, we need this. And it took a really long time. But anyway, we decided that the two words Crimson and Veil had been kicking around with many of the other names, but we really liked putting the two together because Crimson, as well as being like a really cool kind of metal color, was a bit of a nod to King Crimson, which
Yeah.
we all
Yeah.
really love. We're all like kind of quite into our prog. And then Veil was just this kind of element of mystery that's also, I feel like, a little bit feminine. There's three girls in the band, and we just wanted it to be something that was a little bit, I don't know, different and kind of maybe mysterious and maybe a bit witchy. So we put the two together and everybody liked it, and that was it. We launched last year in April under this name, and it's the same band, just more metal.
No, that's really cool. I like that. I like that the kind of way it's kind of formed from something else, and you've kind of kept the the core of that going. And obviously with Raining Phoenix coming into the fray, that kind of gives you a bit more of a kick to kind of like maybe we should, yeah, maybe sort out the name or
Yeah,
what
yeah,
we're actually
totally.
doing. But yeah, Raining Phoenix, they've been sending me stuff for a little while now, and yeah, they got quite the roster of artists.
Yeah,
There,
yeah.
like a lot of different styles, a lot of different like sort of levels of notoriety and stuff like that as well. I got Lordy on my show recently through them and all that kind of stuff. So um and yeah, no, fantastic label that I wasn't aware of for a while. But obviously they've been paying attention to various things going on, which is
Yeah.
always good. um, but yeah, this record Hex, like I said, I had it for a little while before I hit record, so I had it a little while. But yeah, it's really good. I kind of like it's I don't know. What's the word I kind of gave it? Obviously, you've got like you've mentioned prog and things like that, but there's kind of like an
Mhm.
ethereal doom, I think was the
Mhm.
words that I got from it. Um, as I was like, I like to play around with the words, like try not to go for the sort of typical genre. I like to sort
Yeah.
of pretty it up a little bit, if you will. But no, like it's got that, like it's got that prog element. It's got that doom element, that heavy, like slow riffing or like slow-fi kind of industrial, sort of feel to it. But yeah, where does that sort of like sound come from? Because obviously, like you said before, you were kind of multi-genre like punk and whatnot kind of going down that route. Where did this sort of like this sound come from for you?
Um, I mean, each of the members were as well, we cross over when it comes to metal and prog, sort of. But the other influences that come from the band is just because we're all into really different, we've all had a completely different musical upbringing.
Yeah.
Gary's really was a jazz guitarist, before anything else, and a classical guitarist and a jazz guitarist, and really into jazz, and then sort of got into metal you know, quite heavily. And then Anna's dad is a prog guitarist, quite a well-known prog guitarist in Belgium. So she was really influenced by a lot of progressive music and, became a prog drummer. Hannah was classically trained, went to, Purcell Music School in London and was like classically trained on violin. So all of her musical influences come from like, classical music and romantic classical music. And I was I was brought up singing in church,
Okay.
in church choirs. But I also have I had a Jewish grandma, and I really got into klezmer music, which is like traditional Jewish music.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's a whole bunch of really mixed genres going on here, but we all love metal. So
That's it. It's a unifying genre, that one.
yeah,
Especially when it comes to I mean, especially with jazz, like I know a lot of jazz drummers, things like
yeah,
that they've played through like, quartets and stuff like that, but then they kind of hear some of the metal stuff. And they're like, oh my God, that like the technicality of some of them is absolutely
mm,
crazy. I've played previously with a jazz drummer in one of my, well, I say one of my old bands. An old band. And we had a jazz drummer for a little bit, or a jazz trained drummer, I should say, but
yeah,
like it was the best we ever sounded, like with
yeah.
him, like just purely on the way that he played, the way he added just this element of swing to the metal.
Yeah, it's
It's
really cool
crazy.
actually. I kind of find like if you can appreciate jazz, you can definitely appreciate metal. I mean, for me, like I don't listen to jazz. I'm not really into jazz. I wouldn't be like, let's listen to some jazz. But I definitely learned like everything good from jazz,
Yeah,
like all the
yeah,
chord progressions, playing jazz standards, like the syncopation, the improvisation, all of that kind of stuff. I really learned how to write music through jazz. So even though I don't really listen to jazz, I appreciate it so much. And it's definitely, you can hear in the chord progressions in Hex, there are some definitely some jazzy moments
yeah.
going on there.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that makes a lot of sense to what I was hearing as well. Because I was going to ask, because obviously you've got like the stringed instruments in there and everything as well.
Mm.
And obviously from them being classically trained in violin, that makes
Mhm.
sense.
Mhm.
Um, um, but yeah, no, I mean it's a great like mix of those styles, and like I say, you kind of came out of nowhere, which is fantastic, because I was like, I tried to look for history about you guys, couldn't
Yeah,
really find much, which is
no.
which is kind of cool, adds to that mystery.
Yeah.
Um, obviously this interview kind of opens it up a little bit, but that's fine. The one thing I did find actually was when I was searching for you on, because I was listening to you today off one of the streaming services that I subscribe to.
Yeah.
I put in the band name, and there's two albums underneath that name. Your picture,
Yeah.
but two albums. One's like an R&B stroke thing album.
Yeah, that happened a little while back, actually.
Yeah,
I didn't realize it was still there. I mean, we got it off all the major platforms, so I don't know what platform it's still kicking around in. But yeah, there was a weird, a weird album that came out that
that's
wasn't
right.
our album, but probably just confused everyone even further, you
Yeah,
know.
no, I mean it was the fun of it, because I just hit play blindly, and it was like a real, like, I was like, this wasn't what I was listening to before.
Yeah, it's a weird mix. Yeah. Do you know what platform that's still on?
Yeah, I'll let you know afterwards, just because of other reasons. I'll let you know after I've stopped
Of
recording.
course. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Fair.
yeah, but yeah, yeah, no, I'll let you know which one's on, so you can fix it. But it's like I say, it's your picture, everything of the profile. It's about your band. It's just that there's two albums.
Yeah, that is not supposed to be a thing.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I was saying it could be like a Outcast thing where they had like two albums of different things. Uh,
Right.
like you've got different influences for one lot and another one.
Yeah.
Would have been interesting. I don't know.
Yeah.
Did
Yeah.
some of those songs live? I don't know. I'm just spitballing there. Um, but yeah, the album, I mean, a couple of tracks I really love off it. Actually, the tracks, they go in a row. It was really strange. I was like writing these things down. I was like, oh, this track, and then oh, this track. I realized it's actually, I think, four, five, and six, or three, four, and five on the album.
Hmm.
Shift,
Yep.
Flinch, and
Hmm.
Illuminate.
Yep.
I love that trio of songs. I don't know what works, why it's like three of them together work so well, but like the back to back of that, I was just like, it's crazy, because I like to like write down the songs that I really like stand out for me. But I just thought that, I mean, the whole album's great, don't get me wrong, but like those three together, I don't know what it is, but it just something worked really, really well.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I mean, going through the album as well is like, what do you kind of like? I mean, what have been the standout tracks for you guys? Like, what are the ones that people have kind of gravitated to? You didn't think people would, if you make sense. Like, we sometimes you get album songs where you think, okay, this one's going to be a real like, I don't know, banger. I think the word is the kids use.
Yeah.
This one slaps, I think is the other words.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, yeah, I'm down with the download thing. But but what off the album? What are the tracks that have really kind of like, really kind of like picked up by people that you were thinking maybe this one will, maybe this one won't? Has there been anything like that for you?
Yeah, I think obviously Flinch made a massive impact because it was our first ever single and the people that had been into our previous band hadn't heard it. They hadn't heard anything really this heavy that we'd
Okay.
done. And it's such a, split track of like these really soft jazz chords in the choruses
Yeah.
and then this brutal like death metal growls in the and this riff. So it's kind of I think that was a really, really good standout when people were just like, whoa, what is this? So that was pretty cool. But really the one that I was surprised that had such a reaction over was Awake.
Okay.
We filmed the music video at like 4 a.m. on a beach somewhere in Portsmouth, and it was
Wow.
freezing and raining, and I had to go in the sea, and I kind of looked really tired.
Oh my God.
And I remember watching the video and being like, it's a good video, but like, yeah, I look wrecked. And it was just, kind of like, it looks quite painful, the video
Yeah.
itself, it looks real. It was real. The pain was real. Um, but yeah, it just had a really good response, which I didn't see coming because it's just me on a beach, there's nothing really more to it.
Mm.
But people really responded well to that song. I think maybe it's just the song. It's quite an emotional song
Yeah. Yeah.
about like surrendering and letting go and I was surprised at the reaction of it. People really, really loved it. So that was nice for me because I really enjoyed writing that song and that was one of my tunes on the album and was really happy with the chord progression and the structure of it. So it was nice that that one got a good reception too.
Fantastic, fantastic. Another one I got written down is Joyless as well. I really like that track.
Yeah, that is a fun song in 7/8.
Yeah.
7/8 and 5/4, we were like, yeah, let's be pretentious and
Yeah. Yeah.
write
Why
a song in
not?
7/8. But it turned out to be a banger, so it's all
I was
right.
gonna say, if you can do it, if you could pull it off, then yeah, do it. Do it, But no, I like that track as well. It's one of the ones I wrote down. But yeah, I mean, I was sweet you guys just sort of like new on the scene and everything, but kind of anyway. You do
Mhm.
have a history, obviously, with
We're new on the metal scene, definitely,
yeah, yeah. But you've got this fantastic tour coming up.
Yes, very.
Which we'll talk about. I mean, someone I've actually tried to get on my show before, but haven't managed to do it. But Combichrist.
Wow.
I love my industrial dance, electronic fused rock and metal. That's
Cool.
my jam, along with new metal. You can tell by the baseball cap, and I am wearing baggy trousers, combat trousers, that as well. I'm of that age, so but it's not a red cap. Not a red cap. I don't mind Limp Bizkit, but it's not a red cap. Um, I was a scratch DJ in a new metal band. That's I was the epitome of all that was new metal at one point.
Excellent.
Um, but anyway, back to you guys. You got this full European tour coming up.
Hmm.
I'm not going to go through the dates because you're playing pretty much every city in
Yeah.
and around
Hmm.
mainland Europe. So I'd give the countries: Germany. Where are we going? Germany. Is that Austria? Yep. Italy.
Hmm.
Oh, this is really testing my
Yeah. Czech Republic is
Czech
there,
Republic. Yep. Romania.
Switzerland, and
Yep.
then there aren't any shows in France, which is weird, but
Yeah, I
yeah,
was gonna say there's no. I can't see.
French. Yeah,
See a lot
French.
of German.
And then we go to Romania, I think, Slovakia.
Yep.
I want to say Lithuania as well, I think, but I'm not sure. There's quite a few. Um, the Bosnia as well,
Yep.
and then we come back through Holland and go to the UK, up to Scotland, Ireland, back down, back to the Czech Republic, and then finish in Leipzig in Germany with a Gothic festival, Wave Gothic
Fantastic.
Czech. Yeah, there's like 32 shows
Yeah,
in like I think 40 days or something crazy.
that is crazy. You're gonna. I'm not gonna. I mean, you're gonna be tired.
Yeah, bye bye my vocal cords is all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna say you're gonna need to have. Do you actually do you have a technique to help them? Do you use anything?
I just try not to talk too much during the day, and I just drink a lot of water. Try not to have too much caffeine. Get lots of sleep if I can.
Yep.
All the things that just never happen on tour.
No, exactly, exactly. I was about to say I'm not sponsored by this lot, but these are very good.
Oh yeah, I have some of them. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
pretty good.
They're not great tasting, but
Yeah,
I've got
they're
their
good.
tea as well, and it works really well. Especially
Yeah, and I have one of those vaporizer things
yes,
as well, which my singing teacher was really great
I
at
was
showing me
about to
how to use.
mention one of those as well. Those are fantastic. They just keep those vocal cords nice and just well, say intact, but like they just relax it really nicely. So,
Mhm, mhm.
um, but yeah, I mean, obviously through the UK, you hit in London, Plymouth, Liverpool, Milton Keynes, Manchester, Newcastle, Glasgow, Belfast, Limerick, Dublin, Birmingham, all the major cities up and down the country there. Um,
Yeah,
and some really nice venues actually. The Underworld, I love the Underworld. It's one of
yeah,
the
me too.
venues. Crawford Arms is really good as well.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, no, I mean, it looks like a fantastic tour. How did that come about? How would that one sort of yeah? How did that come about for you guys?
Um, it was just pitched to us by our management. They said, "This is coming up. Do you want to do it?" And we were like, "Can I swear?"
Yes, you can.
Okay, good. Uh, we were like, "Fuck yeah, definitely." Our violinist is quite a big Combichrist fan. So she was like, "Oh my God, yes." And the other three of us, we were like, "Yeah, definitely." I mean, it's it's good actually because although the music's quite different, they're quite dark. Do you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah,
Like they subject matter wise and sound wise, they're quite dark, and I think that's really good because we're quite dark too. So I think it'll be a good, you know, although different genres, I think it's going to match quite well.
yeah,
We toured with Lordi, which was absolutely incredible. They were like the nicest people ever, but I think
yeah.
maybe we were quite dark. You know?
Which
We're
is
not
weird,
really like
isn't
a
it?
fun band, do you know?
But for the way they look, you think it would be a perfect match, but no.
Yeah, yeah,
They're,
yeah. But it was the perfect match. Like their fan base was so great, and we made so many amazing fans. And actually, it worked really, really well because we have quite a theatrical set, so it worked really well on a visual sense. But yeah, I think sound-wise, Combichrist is a lot closer to where we're at.
no, definitely. I mean, good luck on that tour. It looks fantastic. I want to go. I'm just looking at what's closest to me. I think it's
Yeah,
probably London, um, which is
at
fine.
the Underworld.
Yeah, the Underworld. Yeah. So yeah, no, I'm definitely going to try and make it because I do like a bit of Combi Christ, and I want to check out the other bands you're playing with as well. You got Esoteric and X Dies.
Yes.
Yes, X Dies. Yes. So it's a good bill. And I recommend any of the people that obviously listening to this or watching this. A lot of them have had bands of Combi Crisis ilk on the show, sort of on that industrial edge. Um, in fact, last week I had a band called Nox Pulso on, who are industrial, in fact.
Cool.
um, but no, I've had plenty of them on in the past, and like I said, I've tried to get Combi Christ, but for some reason we've never been able to kind of like get the right date. So hopefully this, but I'm going to try and get it for this because this would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, what was I going to say? Yes, about coughing. Mishkin, I've got a couple of questions left for you. Uh,
Okay.
yeah, so I can let you get on with the rest of your night because I know I mean, we're both in England, so we know what the time is.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
but yeah, what I want to find out from you, because obviously you've got quite a varied background, so I'll be quite interested in this one. But I always ask people what their three most pivotal records were in their life. So not necessarily your favorite album or song of all time. I'm not looking for a top three. I'm just looking for the one that, like, you heard this song when you were younger, like either your parents played it to you or a friend played it to you, and it just like completely changed. It made you want to become a musician, or what you wanted to be in a band. You
Yeah.
just be on stage, or something, something else that was more pivotal, something else in your life that it kind of turned you to. But if you can kind of pinpoint like three,
Mhm.
that would be perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. So the very first album that made me want to play on stage and be in a band was Muse Origin of Symmetry.
Oh, nice. Yep.
So I heard that before I heard Showbiz, actually. I sort of did it in the wrong order, but I really was blown away by Origin of Symmetry. I still am. It's still like probably like on a nostalgic level, my favorite Muse album. But
Nice.
I'd never heard classical piano played like that with rock music and then this kind of really high operatic vocal. It was so like dramatic and theatrical, but also really cool. They just had this like edge of balancing the two together to make it work, and just such good musicianship. Like the three members of the band, they're just absolutely insane.
Yeah,
So that was a huge one. I would listen to it again and again, and got really obsessed with it. And you know, because I was playing piano when I was growing up as well, it was a really, interesting combination of genres. I thought they were absolutely brilliant, and I saw them live at Wembley on that tour and was just absolutely blown away. So that was definitely a pivotal album for me.
nice.
The next one probably was Placebo's Black Market Music.
Oh, yeah, excellent.
Um,
Yep.
Going back quite a way now, but yeah, I just I mean I didn't really have very much um, access to alternative music when I was growing up. Like I said, I grew up singing in a church, and it was quite sheltered. I didn't, have access to these albums. So I had an older boyfriend at the time, and he gave me a bunch of CDs, and amongst them was this Placebo album, Without You I'm Nothing, and then Black Market Music. But the darkness of Black Market Music and the lyrics in it, and the grooves and the guitar sounds,
Yeah,
really, really clever. I mean, he's just such an incredible lyricist. So that had a huge effect on my songwriting as well. I just thought the song structures were great. And then I didn't really get into metal for ages, like I was
yeah,
more listening to alternative rock and stuff like that. And then my tastes have just gotten heavier as I've gotten older, basically. I've kind of done the opposite. Like most people mellow out, and I'm just getting more intense. And now I'm just listening to loads of like tech death and thrash and stuff.
yeah.
So yeah. But
Benjamin Button.
um, yeah, another album that had a massive influence was Opeth's Ghost Reveries.
Oh, yes. Yeah,
No,
fantastic.
I just really crossed over the metal and the progressive for me in such a way that was just brilliant. And Mike Ackerfeld's vocals are just like so good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say that although Opeth took me quite a while to get into, we're all massive Opeth fans in the band. So it's fantastic that we're on the same label as them now, because we've
Yeah.
all been
Yeah.
influenced by their music over the years. But yeah, I would say that that's an album that had a profound effect on my songwriting as well.
Fantastic. I mean, three great albums there. I mean, Muse, love Muse. I've been, yeah. Since show well before Showbiz for me, actually, I got sent a demo of theirs many years ago, and
Cool.
I wish I could find it, but can I not? No. I used to be a promoter for shows in my local area, and I used to get sent many a CD or cassette tape at the time. So we're talking way back when I say
That's so
cassette
cool.
tapes. But I had one from a band called Muse before they released Showbiz, and it was before they sort of ducked everything and just moved to the States for a little bit, and then got signed by Madonna's label. I think it was in the end. It was Maverick.
I don't know. Sorry, I'm rubbish with stuff like that.
Yeah, it was because the same label as Deftones first label.
Okay,
It's
very
Maverick
good.
Records, which was
That's a great
Madonna's like own label,
band.
just part of Warner Brothers, and now doesn't exist. It got absorbed, and as these things do. But no, yeah, fantastic. Origin and Symmetry is, I'd say, probably one of their best albums.
Yeah,
Just for the sheer musicianship of it, like you were
it's
saying. Like,
incredible. I would say like it's one of the most original albums like made in that era for
yeah,
sure.
yeah. I mean, I still play
Still
tracks from
stands
that
up.
in the nightclub I DJ. I still play tracks off of that
Mm.
particular album, despite like maybe Supermassive Black Hole or
Yeah.
um, no, that's pretty much the only. Actually, oh no, one of the recent ones. What was it called? Can't remember what it's called. It's a more dubsteppy one, but but there's more tracks off that album that I can play that people recognize.
Mm.
So it like Plug-in Baby and stuff like that, I believe, was on there, um,
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Like
So
that is
you
an
know,
absolute masterpiece.
yeah, yeah, it's crazy. Placebo as well. Again, I don't. It's really weird. The band, I don't know. It's like they're really underrated as a
Yeah, I
like.
think so. Yeah. I think people kind of like hear them and it's like, oh, it's a bit poppy and it's a bit indie and it's a bit that and don't really see the sort of depth to it. But like the songwriting's absolutely blinding. The
Yeah,
guitar sound is totally original. The drummer's amazing. Like they're all phenomenal musicians. And lyrically, he's just a poet. Like every single line just rolls off of the tongue and the rhyming is like masterful.
yeah,
I've never, I think they're one of the like he's maybe one of the best lyricists out there in my personal
yeah. No,
humble opinion, but certainly when I was a teenager hearing that, it absolutely blew my mind. Like Black Market Music,
yeah,
it's the opening track, Taste in Men, that's what it is. That song just that opens the album. It's just so bleak,
yeah.
so dark. They just got this brilliant, brilliant sound.
Yeah, no, definitely. I agree with that 100%. They're one of those bands that throughout the years have always kind of just kind of, I don't know, they were there, then they weren't, they recently came back and did shows without, they had the whole like no phone thing, which was fine.
Yeah.
Um, which I don't mind. It's fine, and it was just sort of people began to start appreciating them again.
Yeah, yeah. I've seen them a few times over the years as well. They've
Yeah,
always been amazing live. Absolutely incredible.
yeah. And I always loved the sort of thing initially when they sort of came out of the sort of like came into the mainstream, I should say, and everyone was like, is it a boy? Is it a girl? Is
Yeah,
Can I fancy this person? Can I not?
yeah,
And it was like, and he looks like most of the people in the goth club, that I see
yeah.
week out. So it was kind of cool. People like in the mainstream questioning themselves.
Yeah,
Um,
it was really cool when that whole stuff came out. It was just great, like to see somebody, so unusual looking and crossing so many, gender
yeah,
stereotypes and stuff like that, just without breaking a sweat. It was just brilliant.
it
And
was absolutely fantastic.
yeah, I actually like when I was a teenager, I had a picture of Brian Molko like on my school folder. That's how sad I was, when I was a
Wrong with
teenager.
that. Nothing wrong with that. That's what those posters are there for. Um, but yeah, and going on to Opeth, yes, Opeth, the masters of metal and prog, I would say.
Mhm,
Like there's very little they do that is not impressive.
mhm.
Be it on record or even in live performances, they've always been just this like monolith of I don't know, prog and metal, that kind of
Yeah,
like that real, but they've really mastered it. They're kind of like what Meshuggah are to like the tech metal, if
yeah,
like thing. Opeth of just this like body of like, and they'll go down as one of the greats like of all time. I guarantee
yeah,
it. If they're not already,
yeah,
they've got so many fantastic albums, individual tracks, live performances. They rarely disappoint on that front. But that's a fantastic album to kind of like, it isn't like an instant get into. They're not, they never have been. Like I struggled to get into them for a little
yeah.
while, but it's that thing. It's like, not always like the best music is like good straight away. If that makes sense.
Mm,
Like a lot of really
yeah,
masterful albums you have to listen to over and
absolutely.
over again to like maybe just get it or just listen to all the nuances and all
Mm,
these little things. Like there's certain albums in my sort of like top 10 or whatever that weren't great on first listen.
hmm.
Uh,
Yeah, I love a band that you fall in love with slowly. That's kind of my favorite thing. Like, it took me a really long time to get into Opeth, but that was the album that persuaded me, in the end, and they got really obsessed with that, and then that was the open door to the rest of them. And it's the same with like Gojira. That took me quite a while to appreciate and to get into. They're quite understated as well, but when you really get into it, it's just I love bands like that. Those are the bands that stand the test of time, are the ones that it takes a little while to get into, and then you're suddenly like an obsession.
yes, exactly, and it's a rare thing these days. Um, but there are bands out there people can do that with.
Mhm.
But yes, I've got one last question for you, Mishkin.
Okay.
And that is, what are your hobbies away from the band? What do you do to kind of separate out?
There is nothing else.
There is nothing.
Only
There is
music.
only music.
Um, yeah, I mean, I play a lot of different styles in music. So I don't just do metal. I play accordion,
Okay, cool.
like the dweebiest instrument ever.
Right.
But yeah, I play accordion in like a klezmer kind of country rock band as well. And I play bass guitar in Hannah's other band, Hannah Piranha. So I would say that my hobbies are just more different types of music. But I'm trying to think of actual hobbies that I do. I can't really think of anything that I do outside of music. It's like I mean, I quite like a yoga class. I
Okay.
do hot yoga. I
Yep.
wouldn't necessarily say it's a hobby as more as something that I have to do to like, keep my health up.
Yes.
But yeah, I really like that. I love the hot yoga. That's
Okay.
that's one of my hobbies. I do that like bright and early, and yeah, they heat the class up to like 36 degrees, and
Wow.
just do these gentle stretches, but it feels like really intense, but you get this beautiful feeling afterwards. It's very, very peaceful. So I like that, and I go running as well.
Okay.
Um, and I think that's about it.
Okay.
Like,
No,
oh, I
that's
got
cool.
so
That's I always like to find out what people do. Like, it can be any like I look at me. I play video games, watch movies. Um, um, but yeah, no, I always love to find out what people do. And I class like, even like health related stuff as not necessarily like a hobby, but things like yoga, hot yoga and stuff like that. I mean, I'm sort of trying to do more yoga related things at the moment for my own personal health. I've got a dodgy back.
Oh
Um,
yeah, that's why I got into it. And initially, I
yeah.
had a really bad neck, Mosh's neck. No,
Yeah.
it wasn't Mosh's neck. It was just from
Comedy neck, I think they call
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. teaching piano and just playing too many musical instruments and bad posture and
Yeah.
everything. So I got into like a really bad state where I couldn't really move properly, and it was really starting to affect me. And somebody suggested the hot yoga, and I read a bit about it and did this class and was like, oh my God, this is ridiculous. Like I couldn't move for like 3 days afterwards after the class.
Yeah.
Um, but like it was great, and it really works. It strengthens your core really well, and it just keeps me in top shape. Like we always do yoga on tour, whenever we get to the venue, we're like, okay, let's stretch, and always do like it. It just seems to keep your back in shape, and it
Yeah.
helps with your mental health as well. That's what I really like about it is one class can help you not just physically but mentally relax as well. Like I have trouble switching off, especially from music. So I like to go into a yoga class where you can't really focus on anything except, dear God, am I going to fall over?
How hot is it in here?
Yeah, how
Uh,
hot is it in here? I'm dying. You can't think about anything else. So, yeah, I really love that. Yeah.
cool. Excellent. Well, Mishkin, thank you very much. Good luck on the tour with Combichrist. Everyone can
Thanks.
go find the tickets online now. Um, and also pick up the album, pick up Hex.
Yeah.
Do that. That's probably more important. Um, merch, everything. Big sale here.
Oh yeah.
But yes, people buy that. It's always good to help bands with physical merch, or physical products. I think I'm a big fan of vinyl and stuff like that. So
Yeah, we've got a really sick vinyl actually. It's like a
yeah,
double red crimson
I saw it.
vinyl. It's looking beautiful. So yeah, if you do
Saw
get a
it.
chance to get your hands on that.
Very tempting. Don't. I'm very easily swayed when it comes to
All
vinyl,
right.
especially when it's different colors. I know what it is. Well, no, I know exactly what it is. It's these things behind me. These are
Yeah,
turntables. So they're like I've got about one,
cool.
five, about eight, nine, nine boxes full of vinyl, and they're like um the big boxes as well, what they call really useful boxes. So they are
I
really
have vinyl, I just don't have a player yet. But one of my things this year is I've got so many beautiful pieces of vinyl now that people
yeah,
have given me or I've bought on a whim.
yeah.
So I really need to just sort that out this year for sure.
Yes, you do. I mean, I've got four. I'm being selfish. I've got four things to play it on,
Amazing.
but
That's
those
cool.
three of them are legacy things. One's a little like it's not really a toy, but it's a thing I can take out on the road with me and do like little scratches and stuff like that, which is really cool. But no, Mishkin, thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Oh, well, thanks for having me. It's been really fun to chat.
Awesome. Thank you. Bye bye.